Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, Augusto Argandoña Fine Arts. Anytime in this narrated tutorial, you can click on the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel. And I would also appreciate hearing your comments. You can give me any comments about this video or any of the other videos in my YouTube channel. If you want to learn about my virtual classes, or want to see my paintings, you can do so in my website at aafinearts.com. Again, aafinearts.com. This tutorial is about painting buildings and a street scene. This particular image is right here in downtown Sarasota, Florida. And it's a building that unfortunately is no longer in existence. It used to be an old hotel, a very iconic type building. I was there for many years in downtown Sarasota, but as some people call it progress, it was torn down recently and a new high-rise condominium building will be built on site. So let's get to the fun part of this tutorial, and that is the painting part. In the photograph that I took, there are some other newer buildings behind this structure and this other building next to it, but I'm not going to show that. It would be too much and it would be too distracting. I just want to concentrate on this building, the old hotel. The type of architectural details and architectural style dates back to the Ringling era of buildings. When many years ago, the Ringling brothers started a circus in Sarasota, and a lot of the buildings were from that epoch, from that period, were called the Ringling style. I don't really know why, but that's the way it is. So anyway, let's get start with the painting. I use 140-pound cold press paper. That's my favorite. I use other papers as well, but I prefer the 140-pound. And for the most part, I prefer to paint with flat brushes. You will see me paint with a couple of other, round brushes, something like this. But for the most part, I prefer the flat brushes. So let's start. I'm gonna start by adding quite a bit of water into the sky area, bordering the building. I don't want to put water there, and I bring in the water like that, and over here too, to this other building like that. And I'm going to bring a little bit more, covering those palm trees, and coming over here again, just bordering just above my pencil lines. I don't like to touch my own pencil lines because, pigment tends to bleed into it, and so it's not too good. So that's the way I'm going to start. So then I'm going to bring a little bit of yellow ochre, very little. There'll be quite a bit of yellow ochre in this area, so I might as well put a little bit of that in the sky too, like that. And then I'm going to bring in some ultramarine blue. Like that, right into that yellow ochre. Kind of let it bleed into it. I'm also going to bring a little bit of cobalt blue, especially down here, bordering that building that's over here on the corner. And then there we are. And that's kind of pretty much it for the sky. I'm not gonna do much about it. That's about it. Maybe a little bit more cobalt blue, especially in this corner. Our skies here in Florida are really nice and bright, so that's the way I like to paint. I'm gonna put a little bit more of that here and kind of blend it into that yellow ochre, and that's about it there. Okay. So now, while that's drying, I'm gonna add some water to the street area, including this sidewalk. Quite a bit of water there, including that sidewalk, but not over there. All of this will have quite a bit of water. Like that, and then I'm going to bring a little bit of, this is going to be very sunny, but I like to paint that concrete, or rather the asphalt area, with, give it a little bit of color. So I'm going to just go to a few strokes like that. A little bit more of the burnt sienna. Just give it a little bit of color, not too much. Because, like I said, it will be on the sun. So a little bit more of the burnt ultramarine here. There will be some shadow areas in this corner, but other than that, I'm gonna just leave it like that. Maybe a little bit more of the brown there. Okay, there, that's it. Clean my brush. And now, this area is still kind of wet, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to kind of wet this a little bit also, this building. But only up to the, just below my pencil line again. So I don't want the colors here to bleed into the sky. So just a little bit below my pencil line. I'm gonna add some water here, paint this all these buildings all at the same time. Going to go over the windows, doors, and everything, but I'm not touching that car either, or the bushes that are over here. So now I'm gonna go ahead and bring in some, like I said earlier, some yellow ochre. Over here, like that. I'm gonna show a little bit more light on this side of the building, so I'm going to leave almost white here. I'm going to just add a little bit of color, not too much. There, paint all those buildings all at the same time. I'm going to bring in a little bit of sepia, very little sepia. Like that. A little bit more of the yellow ochre. Like that, there. Now, also, I'm going to clean my brush. I'm going to bring a little bit of ultramarine blue, very little. Kind of tone this down, because I'm going to emphasize this area. There. Clean my brush and bring a little bit of burnt sienna also to this area here. There we are. Maybe a little bit over here. And that's about it. Okay, we're going to let that dry. Now while that's drying, I'm going to test this. This is beginning to dry rather nicely. I'm going to change brushes to a smaller brush, flat brush again. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of aureole in yellow with the yellow ochre and a little bit of green here, some undersea green. Start laying down this green area, these grasses. Not too much of the green. Right to the curve there. There we are. See, this area is almost dry, so this is good. Now I'm going to border the edge of this car. A little bit of that green there. There. Right, and I'm going to put some of that over here too. Okay, so now this is beginning to dry. So I'm going to do this other wall. I'm going to change brushes again to a smaller flat brush. This wall is going to be in the shade. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring in some burnt sienna. And there's some type of mural or a picture over here. So I'm going to just bring that burnt sienna over here. Like that. Okay, so now I'm going to darken that area. I'm going to bring a little bit more of the burnt sienna, a little stronger. There we are. Just like that. This is pretty much wet on dry, as opposed to wet on wet like it was here. Now, I'm also going to bring in clean my brush and bring in some ultramarine blue. Like that. As I said, that wall will be in the shade. So I'm also going to bring in a little sepia. And bring it right to the edge, like that. Now I'm going to change brushes again, another flat brush, and I'm going to bring in more ultramarine. Just like that there. And now I'm going to bring in more burnt sienna. There we are. This is all in layers. I'm not painting this all at the same time. It's all in layers. Get some of this water over here. There we go. I'm going to let that dry before I do anything else. This is almost dry, so I'm gonna wait for that to dry a little bit more. In the meantime, let me see the sky. It's almost dry. Good. So I'm gonna do this wall here on this building, and I'm gonna start with brown matter and ultramarine. There's gonna be a palm tree here too, so I gotta be careful with that. But we'll go ahead and do this like that. A little bit more of the brown matter and the ultramarine. Make it dark. Right to that edge. There we are. And bring a little bit more of the ultramarine. There we are. There. I'm gonna let that dry. While I'm doing that, I think I'm gonna bring a little bit more of that color and do this brick. This sidewalk has some brick. There we are. We'll blend that later. For now, I'm gonna leave it like that. In the meantime, I'm gonna make sure that this area is a little darker. So I'm gonna bring in some brown matter, this time with ultramarine. Come over here, make this wall darker. Like that. And with a thirsty brush, I'm going to pick some of that color. Remove the moisture from the brush and pick up more of the color. I'm going to darken that a little later when this paper dries. There, like that. I think also I will probably bring in a little bit of the yellow ochre. Another layer color here. Yep, there we are. That's better. There. And let that dry. While that's drying, I'm going to bring a little bit more ultramarine with a little bit more water in my brush and do a little bit more color here where the shadow side of this buildings. Maybe a little bit over here. There we are. Bring a little bit of burnt umber with the water. There. And a little bit of the brown matter, clean brown matter, just to pick up some of this color over here. There's some of those colors over here too, under these awnings, so I'm going to do that. And there's some of that color over here also, on this roof. There. Bring some of that over here, a bit over here, there, like that. Okay. A little bit over here, a little bit over here, and there. And now we just united the painting to be a color. There. All right, now we'll let that dry. It's drying rather nicely. So while that's drying, I'm gonna add a little bit more color over here, a little bit of water. Make this a little darker. There. Okay. Now let that dry, and I'm going to try to speed up the drying process with this triangle. Just air it a little bit, like that. I have a hair dryer here too, but that makes a lot of noise, and I'd rather not use it. Colors are really nice over here. I'm going to pick up some of this into the shadows over here so it doesn't look too out of place. I'm going to pick up some of this into this wall too when that dries. Like that. Okay. Maybe I will use my hair dryer. It'll make a lot of noise, but please bear with me. Sorry about the noise, but sometimes it's necessary. When you work with watercolors, especially do a lot of wet and wet washes, you have to use the hair dryer. There's no question about it. So now I'm gonna get some green, some Oriolan yellow, a little bit of permanent sub green, and do the tops of these bushes right by this edge of this car, and bring that on here like that. There. Now I'm going to bring in some under sea green with sepia. I'll start doing some of the darker areas here. This, right by the car, that car. And over here, bring some of that green over here. And do these bushes like that. Bring that right, blocking that card. The back side around that card. A little bit more Payne's gray this time with and the sea green, and darken that area. There we are. Also, a little bit more of the undersea green. And there's some Sabal palm over here. A little bit more water in my brush. There we are. And there's another palm tree, smaller palm over here. There, and there's another little bush, a little higher bush over here. And there we are. Okay, that's enough for that. This is all dry. Okay, so we'll start modeling the details on the building. I'm gonna bring in some brown matter with a little bit of burnt umber, and do this this building here like that. Actually, I'm gonna change brushes to smaller round brush. Get some sepia and come over here like that. Do the edge of that tile. There, like that. And now I'm going to get some more sepia and do this roof. Not too many of those, just a few, an indication of the direction of the tiles. Like that. And there's some type of support member there. There we are, there. Okay, so now I'm gonna get some sepia, a little bit of ultramarine, and do this little details. There's this window over here, like that. There we are. Now this window, and another one. I think I'm gonna change brushes and bring my smaller flat brush and use my smaller flat brush for that. Like this. There we go. So now I'll go back to my smaller brush and finish these windows. There's some type of, not a balcony, but something sticking out here, and some supports. Like that. A bit more sepia, and do this other window over here. Like that. Okay. This comes a little further down, in line with those windows. Like that. Now there's some architectural detail over here like this. There. Okay. Now I'm going to get the smaller brush, and there's some the doors, the windows. There's some stores over here, so there's an arch here. Like that. There's another arch over here. I think this arch is much larger. There we are. And there's another one over here. And another one there. And another one there. Like that. And below, there's the rest of this is some type of awning. Now, get my other brush again, get some ultramarine and sepia, and do these openings. Bring some brown matter into that, like that. Again, same thing over here. Get a little bit more of those colors. But more of those darker colors over here too. Make this really dark. There. Like that. And that portion of the building is almost done. So now we're gonna do this other, I get a smaller brush here and do this other building. Get some of these dark colors, and there's a little bit of a roof here. And there's a window coming down here like that. I think I'm going to add a little bit more darker color there. And there's another section of some roof over here. And some windows or something like that. And there's another window over here. Like that. And there's another roof. Pretty much in the shade over here. And an arch. There. And then there's this awning. It's pretty much red over here. I think there's some type of balcony. Yeah, like that. Make these windows a little bit more square. There's another window over here in 3 sections. And then this awning. Okay. Now I'm going to get back to my smaller round brush, pick up some of this dark color and start modeling this. There's some details over here. And then There's a wall over here too. And some type of awning here also. We'll make that a little darker. The shade. And we'll do the openings. Yeah. There we are. A little bit more of the darker colors over here too. Like that. And get a little bit more of the red for this awning here. There we are. Now get some of the sepia and this window. There. There we are. Like that. So might as well go ahead and do this car and make it kind of bluish. Actually, this side will be in the shade. There we are. Bit of the shade over here. And while I'm having this smaller brush, I'm going to do this curve. There we are, like that. Okay. Also, get some more darker colors. And do a little bit more detailing over here. And get my small flat brush and pick up some of this blue and brown matter, get some gray, and gray down these pillars over here, over there. Also gray down this area, the shadows from this awning. like that. There. Now I'm going to get a little bit more color, cobalt blue, very light cobalt blue, and maybe add a little bit more of that cool color over here. There. Okay, and the building is pretty much done. So now I'm going to take a small brush and pick up some of this gray that I have, get some of this green, ultramarine blue, and mix with the green, and do these palm trees. Like that. A little bit more. Like this. These are royal palms. There we. And then get some of that gray color of the trunks. There we are. Okay, so now I'm going to get my smaller flat brush and tone down this wall a little bit. And then I'm going to get some ultramarine blue and put it right here. And for good measure, I'm going to bring some of that brown matter also right into this wall. Okay, so now that's done. Bring some of that over here. There, like that. Bring it over. And now, this is going to be in the shade, so I'm going to bring some cobalt blue. That. Okay, this building, I'm going to make this much darker. I'll get some sepia, some brown matter, and make this building much darker. Oh, also some ultramarine. A little bit more water. A little darker at the top, a little lighter at the bottom. There we are. I'm gonna leave it like that. And the sidewalk also, make a little darker. Pick up some of the color. Like that. And do the curve. There. All right. So now, I'm going to do a couple of other things here. I'm going to bring in a little bit more ultramarine, clean ultramarine, and do this wall a little bit more. Like that. Then pick up the color, the moisture actually, press my brush and add the color, but not to the extent that not too much of the value. Clean this edge a little bit. There. That's better. All right, so now it's in the shade. Also, I'm gonna darken this wall a little bit more. There, same thing here. There we go. All right, now I'm going to add the shadows that I mentioned earlier using some brown matter and ultramarine over here. Also bring some cobalt blue. Like that. A little bit of cerulean blue. With that brown matter. I'm also going to bring this shadow area over here. Like that, there. And this over here for the car. And that's it. Now, what else I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a palm tree over here at the very top. And for that, I'm going to use quite a bit of undersea green and Payne's gray. A little bit of sepia also. Make it very dark. make this very dark. Yeah. Now they get a little bit of that sepia on the brown matter with cobalt blue and do that trunk. There we go. Darken this a little bit more. There we are. And a little bit of the detail over here on this wall. There. And there's a couple of other little details over here. I'm gonna just do that. There's a building behind that I think I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Very light. Like that, there we are. And there's another thing over here that I think I'm gonna do it too. Right. It's better. All right, so that's pretty much it. What I'm going to do also here is I'm going to remove some of this color on this trunk. Like that. And just leave it like that. Don't do too much. I'm going to remove a little bit more over here. There we are. That's better. But I'm going to add some gray over here. There. And that's about it. So the building is done, the palm trees, everything is done. And so I'm going to remove this tape. I'm going to put this on top of a darker background so you'll be able to appreciate the scene a little bit more. Here comes the dark background. And there it is. I'm going to minimize this so you can see a little bit more. There we are. And there it is. The old Ringling type building used to be a hotel on Palm Avenue here in Sarasota. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you enjoy my painting. And please visit my website at aafinearts.com. There you will see more information about my virtual classes and a fairly large selection of originals and prints. Thank you again. Until next time.